the family farm that I was brought up and raised on was quite an experience because there was some really radical change in terms of farming practices. I witnessed the transfer of horsepower to tractor power because my father worked primarily with horses. We had a big tractor that was used for threshing, but most of the work was done by horses. And then we went through a conversion. We had tractor power and we had horsepower, and that's when I sort of started to get involved. And then I can remember the big debate. How are we going to ever pay for the fuel that a tractor was going to burn? Because the oats and the hay that you fed the horses was deemed not to cost anything, but it was raised. There wasn't a value placed on it, but it was raised on the farm. But that was a big debate as to whether we should have steel wheels on the tractor or rubber tires. And so they opted for steel wheels because rubber was scarce because of the war. And then we'd probably get too many flat tires, and who's going to fix the flat tire? So it was those kinds of things that we talked about. But we always had one thing about my mother and father. We always had lots of food on the table, and we were always well clothed. But we had to do our chores and we had to do our work. And we milked a lot of cows. An average of 16, and in our cows, you could milk them anywhere in a corral. You didn't have to put them in the barn. You could just pick up your stool and pail and go and milk the cows. And we normally milked about 16. And if you were the poor sucker that got stuck on the weekend alone, you end up milking the 16 cows yourself. And that's where I got my handshake that served me later in politics. It was very interesting. So but the family farm was just that. We worked together and we all had to contribute to. And then my brother and I, when we got into business, we established a fairly significant farming operation because we were in the farm machinery business, and my brother was a terrific farmer and he loved everything about farming. And this operation was highly mechanized and it had all the bells and whistles. So, and I found I enjoyed it too because I was involved in politics then, and it was an opportunity for me to come out on weekends and sometimes during the week to get involved running a combine or running a tractor or seeding or swathing or combining. These were all great experiences. And of course, it kept me more closely involved to the land because Don Mazankowski was a rural member of Parliament. He represented the constituency of Vegreville, and agriculture and farmers were the most important. And so it helped me maintain that relationship. And of course, I still look with fondness about those experiences because there's nothing nicer than getting on a combine and you got a 75 bushel to the acre wheat crop and see that grain pour out of the spout. That's the farmer in me that gives me a tremendous amount of satisfaction. Farmers want to produce.